That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he gonna play again? When's he gonna fight again? You know, you gotta be able, if you can't put your feet, you're gonna get fired. You know.
Hey, fight. Yeah, and I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's gonna win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo. Okay. That's all I'm gonna say. And it did take me going to camp to know this.
Okay. Wait. So Adrian Majiman said that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make, and that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Mike Tyson shared his perspective after a training session with Terence Crawford, stressing the importance of staying calm ahead of such a massive showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Tyson explained that the pressure on a stage like this is unlike anything else, and the true battle is as much psychological as it is physical. In his view, if Crawford can control his mind and avoid being consumed by the moment, he'll be able to perform at his absolute best, and potentially make victory look far easier than expected.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody think pressure, you know what I'm saying? No, pressure's the thought of being hit. That's how you fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard. They think I am.
Right. So you're
all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl, I see everything.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towels? I'm sweating like a pimp on one hole.
We will get you one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sweating like Charles Barkley spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
So Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that went and hit you? Like, oh, okay, this guy.
Amir Khan, who once shared the ring with Canelo Alvarez, weighed in on the magnitude of a potential clash between Canelo and Terence Crawford. Khan praised Canelo's greatness and unmatched experience but emphasized that Crawford's punching power is very real. With Crawford now adding size and adapting to the division, Khan believes is becoming stronger than ever. According to Khan, this isn't a one-sided contest, as both men bring extraordinary skill sets to the table. For him, the fight represents more than just another high-profile matchup. It's a collision of two special talents, each capable of shifting the outcome with a single move. While Khan admires Canelo's proven dominance at higher weights, he also warns that Crawford's ability to adjust, adapt, and thrive under new challenges makes this showdown incredibly difficult to predict.
That's the Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
You're not catching it.
Make me think.
You're not catching it too.
We're catching it, resetting, and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
Last fight when Aaron came back to the corner, I had a look on my face like, my dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, "My legs." He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them. He was like, "I ain't probably." He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, "Need these legs."
I'm not to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
off the round.
Whatever. Yeah, well, I was about to keep water on you. So we got time until this fight. So we ain't got to pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests that lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it served as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts have also raised concerns about Terence Crawford's age and limited experience at higher weight classes. By the time a potential fight with Canelo Alvarez materializes, Crawford will be 38 years old, an age where even the most disciplined fighters begin to feel the effects of decline. While his move up to 154 pounds for Israel Madrimov showcased his adaptability, many observers remain unconvinced that one performance proves he's ready to stand toe-to-toe with someone as seasoned at the higher divisions as Canelo. In boxing, age isn't just a number. It affects speed, reflexes, recovery, and the ability to absorb punishment, all of which are crucial against a relentless opponent like Canelo. Analysts acknowledge that Crawford's skills remain razor-sharp but question whether his body can still respond with the same intensity it once did. For them, this matchup represents the greatest test of Crawford's career, not only technically, but also physically and mentally, given the stakes and the caliber of opponent he would be facing.
September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 3 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have been clear about their preparation, stressing that their focus is on avoiding the mistakes Jermell Charlo made in his lopsided loss to Canelo Alvarez. Crawford has been adamant that he is not Charlo, pointing to his discipline, style, and ring IQ as the key differences. His camp has been building a strategy centered on movement, precision, and smart pacing. They recognize that brute strength alone won't be enough to beat Canelo. Instead, the plan is to frustrate him with defense, disrupt his rhythm, and capitalize on sharp counters. Training has been relentless, featuring rigorous conditioning and sparring partners chosen to replicate Canelo's pressure and power, ensuring Crawford is fully prepared for the intensity of the challenge.
Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's technically...
Analysts have also pointed out the natural risks that come with moving up in weight. As boxers add size, speed, and agility, often their sharpest weapons can be compromised. Recent photos of Terence Crawford looking noticeably bulkier have sparked debate, though many caution that images can be misleading due to camera angles and lighting. Still, the underlying question remains. At his age and with the added weight, can Crawford maintain the quickness that has long been his defining advantage? Muscle may bring extra power, but it often comes at the cost of endurance and flexibility, factors that could play a decisive role against a fighter as seasoned and relentless as Canelo Alvarez.
Human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're gonna be slower. Now that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes, I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bud Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Of course, Terence Crawford gained weight, but pictures make it seem like Terence Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 4 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Abel Sanchez, one of boxing's most respected trainers, has flatly dismissed the notion that Terence Crawford poses a serious threat to Canelo Alvarez. Sanchez went as far as to describe the potential matchup as resembling a sparring session rather than a true contest, insisting that Crawford is simply too small to compete with a fighter of Canelo's size and pedigree. His remarks echo a common belief among skeptics that Alvarez's natural strength, durability, and years of experience in higher divisions would give him a decisive advantage. While Sanchez acknowledged Crawford's greatness, he stressed that skill alone cannot always overcome the physical realities of boxing.
Quote, it will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez. Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin, trainer, says, quote, Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights. And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, if Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace. Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri has taken a more skeptical stance, criticizing the level of hype surrounding a potential Canelo Alvarez versus Terence Crawford showdown. While promoters and fans have billed it as one of the biggest fights in boxing history, Algieri disagrees. He acknowledges that it's an exciting matchup, but argues it falls short of the all-time great clashes where evenly matched fighters met at their physical peaks. In his view, the public may be overestimating the drama, given that Crawford is stepping into unfamiliar territory against a champion who has already proven himself dominant at higher weight divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made. And I'm like, no, it's not. Certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see, and a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38. Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, you know. And Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
Got him. He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said a speech.
Yeah. That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But
What's up
yeah,
with that bullpen? All right,
yeah, exactly. I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like I'd rather see
a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it. Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Danny. Look, here I'm calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now becoming sort of standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question. Can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of the fight? Personally, I think that's why Bud Crawford underestimated Canelo. Who knows?